Okay. All right, it is now being
Okay.
recorded.
Okay, and I would just like to call the meeting to order. I have Randy Rush, Carrie Battersby, Brad Morgan, Gary Reese, and Kevin Cormier, all in attendance. I don't think, yeah, that's okay. And we're going over the 5-year policy review cycle for Wednesday, August, what's the 7th, right?
Today's August 6th is today.
8, 6, okay, August 6th. So, I know I have to I don't have quite as many computers as Randy here. Let me get to my agenda. Do we have to do the minutes too?
Yes. And I will make a motion to approve the minutes from July 22nd, 2025.
Okay, I second. Carrie?
Yeah, yes, sorry. I am
Randy?
with it, I promise.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And I say yes. And so is there any public comment here?
I don't
Today?
believe anybody signed up.
Okay. Then we will go on to our policies. The first policy I have is FA, it's Facilities Development Goals. And under my.
Did you want to do the old business, which is the JCA, JEB, and JF, or did you want to go straight for the FAs?
No, we can do the old business. I'm sorry, yep.
It's okay. Take your time, relax.
I have it written differently on my little sheet here.
Yeah, no, I'm just
right,
just
let's
going
start.
straight down the agenda is what I'm doing. So
Okay. So policy JCA is assignments of students to schools.
And I'm going to suggest that we pass this over, as in the last meeting. We talked about letting this go for this year. We've already suspended it for this year, and then we were going to see where it was before we revised it.
Okay,
So yeah.
I move to,
I can do that. So I will move for no action on JCA.
Okay.
I second.
Okay.
Yep. Gary, you
And
should be doing the seconding, as you are the chair.
Me?
I said, Carrie, you should be doing the seconding. I'm letting Lisa know because she's been seconding because she's so used to doing the
Yes,
second.
that's why I seconded, yes.
Yeah. So.
All right, so we're moving on from this.
So yep, now just a vote, Lisa?
And Randy?
Yes.
And Carrie?
Yes.
And I say yes. Okay, now we're gonna move on to the agenda. JEB, the entrance age. Which I think Randy had the notes on this one as well.
Yeah, on this one, we had just done an informational review in 24 as we were looking at this. So I'm not sure if any more changes need to be made, but Gary or Brad, I would refer to you if this still stands for what we need, or if there's things that need to be changed.
I would say at this point in time, it still stands for what we need.
Okay, and that was a thumbs up from Gary, if you didn't see that. So I will go ahead and make a motion for no changes.
Second.
And Randy?
Yes.
And Carrie?
Yes.
And I say yes as well. And we'll, let's see, move on to. Got this one, JF, school admissions.
And this is another one that we had just changed last year. So again, new year, don't know if there's anything that had changed. Again, we had made some adjustments last year.
I think we're good.
And
And we
this
did
is
have legal review it last year, so I think it's still current.
and the changes as far as the toileting and things have been working out well.
There have been no issues to my knowledge that have been brought forward by the building administration, so.
Okay. Then I will make a motion for no changes to JF.
I second.
And Randy
Yes.
and Carrie,
Yes.
and I say yes. Okay, now we will, move on to, new policies, the FA, which is facilities development goals, and, see.
What I did on here, Lisa, is you had everything in the comments because you did not have access to do the suggestions. So I just took your suggestions and threw them in so we can see them in the policy.
Oh, okay, all right, I'm trying to go into my computer, just it bounces back. Um, so,
So this was
this was,
from
yeah, I'm just-
2013 is what our original one was, and MASC has definitely made some changes to this entire section of F, the
Mhm.
facilities. So
right, I'm trying to look at my notes, because I did this.
yeah, it is kind of amusing looking at what's being deleted, and it's a sign of the times in 2013. It says in planning facilities, the committee recognizes the capital outlay funds are limited and that parties must be established. A priority must be established to make the best use of school building dollar. The committee's first objective will be to develop a plan that eliminates overcrowding and without the need for extended day programs and double sessions. That was coming off of a time when the schools, we had just consolidated schools and we had a lot of overcrowding for the first couple of years. So times have changed.
Mhm. Um,
Yeah, I have no
So
problems
Brad,
with the changes here. So go ahead. I'm sorry, Lisa.
you have a problem with what, Randy? I'm
I said I
sorry.
don't have any problems with what's written here.
Okay, and Brad, do you have any questions or any changes that need to be made to this?
I do not, it looks good.
And Gary?
You had a thumbs up. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and accept the changes for you, Lisa.
Okay,
I apologize. I'm remotely today, and so I'm having a hard time with my phone, and I also don't have the files in front of me. But I don't believe I saw any changes either.
okay. Okay, and
So I will move to bring FA for a first reading to the school committee with the changes.
I second.
okay, and Randy
Yes.
and Carrie,
Yes.
and I say yeah as well here. Okay, let's see, now we have Policy FAE is facilities development goals. Let's see. So this policy, isn't this one, Randy, merged with?
Yeah, that's what you wrote here. The other thing also, I'm looking at this one, I'm not sure why it ever was a -E, which are usually exhibits.
Yeah, because it's no longer under the MASC, right? So didn't we merge it with the FA?
They did, yes, as it was some of those changes. So unless somebody has a problem, I will make a motion to rescind FA-E.
I second.
Randy
Yes,
and Carrie,
Yes.
and I say yes. Okay, let's see. Now we have going on to policy FB1, which is facilities planning. And the FB1 is no longer in the MASC policies either.
And that's fine.
so,
when I read this, this is just simply for when we have building projects. It goes through that we're gonna create a school building committee for different projects and gives the purposes. I believe all of this is in MGL, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't necessarily see any problems keeping it, but I also don't see a problem with getting rid of it, because it's, Brad, would you have any thoughts?
I I would agree. I don't necessarily know if we need to have a policy for a school building committee, especially if MASC has removed it. So for future projects, I'm just not sure it's necessary.
okay. And Gary, do you have any questions or?
I think Gary had to log off.
Oh, we did, okay,
Yeah, he had a bad signal.
okay.
I'm
All
here,
right, so-
but I am
Okay.
logging off. I don't see anything. And actually, I'm at a training right now, so I was just actually sending Randy a text. I'm gonna log off because it doesn't look like any of the remaining policies that you need curriculum for.
Okay.
So I'd like to get back into the session, but thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to rescind FB-1.
I second.
And Randy
Yes,
and Carrie,
Yes.
and I say yes as well. Let me see, let's move forward to FF, naming schools facility. Which is, let's see, FF. Right there.
oh,
So there, all right, so we added and dedications as well.
yes, so this was what a work in progress, and I would consider this still a work in progress. If you take a look, this is all the way from 21, right in the middle of COVID. So we started looking at doing this, and I think we kind of got overwhelmed with everything we needed to do because of COVID and masks and bringing things back, and we never came back to revisit this. So I think we should start a conversation again. I don't think we're anywhere near ready to approve this, but let's start the conversation again and see what we have. And exactly that, we were looking at dedications, if I remember correctly, looking at the benches and the gazebo and the trees and the everything that's in the district right now. We had a couple of different ideas going on, but we wanted to make sure that dedicating school property and items was part of our policy, very specific and not just facilities. Ideas that went around, I believe, was to have a set list of things people could dedicate, like have, benches. We also talked about making sure that we had an inventory. I'm not sure if all of that kind of still stands. Do we want to keep dedications going forward? I think I was reading in MASC, they have another policy that actually prohibits any kind of dedications on or in the schools. It says that anything standing can only be removed by school committee vote, but nothing going forward. So I'm not sure how we feel about this in the district.
Brad, what are your thoughts of?
I mean, to be honest, I do think ultimately that this is something that the school committee needs to decide. If you want my honest opinion, I do think we have to be very careful in dedicating things, naming facilities after, whether it be the most recent situation where we named the Performing Arts Center after Susan Robbins. Professionals that have worked in the district, I think, is separate than dedicating a bench. And the reason I say that is that benches sometimes are dedicated to students. If a student has passed, if a family has offered to buy a bench, and MASS legal advises against that simply because if a student or a family wants to name something, if a family wants to name something after a student, it may not be a student that we want something named after because of the student's record or whatever it may be. It has happened in other districts. And what happens is school committees are left in a very difficult situation, having to make a choice and say no to a family because of that student's reputation or something along those lines. So it can get very dicey, and because of that, MASS legal recommends staying away from that if at all possible, because there will come a time when a family wants to dedicate something, and teachers may feel as though that student shouldn't have something named after them. Community members may feel the same way, and then it puts us in a spot where we have to say no or we have to say yes because of past practice. So I would caution against it.
Appreciate
Right.
your opinion. Definitely take that into consideration. Can I suggest, Lisa, that maybe we bring this to the full committee to
That's what I
see
was
how they
just gonna
feel,
suggest.
and then we can come back and alter the policy depending on how the school committee feels and votes.
Yes, I think that's a good idea.
Okay. Carrie, did you have
So,
any thoughts for now, or?
No, not on this particular matter now.
Okay, I think we will have to in this policy, at the very least, if we don't go forward with more dedications, just address the current ones. I know there are many in the district, and I'm not sure if we ever got a full list together, Brad. I think Jeremy was gonna try and do something at some point, but again, it was 21, so we were in the middle of a whole lot of other bigger stuff.
Right. It's still pretty incomplete, I believe. It was a combination of what Oscar Hill was able to come up with from some paperwork he was able to find in his office, and also Jeremy working on that as well. But we do still have some that are outstanding.
Okay. So do you guys want to vote, or do you want me to just bring this up in a school committee meeting?
I think we should bring it forward to the school committee meeting. and have
Right, but
a
do you want me to just do it as the chair and bring it up for a vote, or do you want me to vote here that we have agreed to bring it forward? I'll vote. So I will make
yeah,
a
let's,
motion that we bring the question of whether we go forward with dedications to the full committee.
I second.
And Randy
Yes.
and Carrie,
Yes.
and I say yes. And okay, let's move. Where's my agenda? Okay, we have FFR, which is criteria and procedure for naming facilities.
Yeah, and we can just pass that over for now because that goes right along with the FF.
Correct. Now this policy here isn't on the MASC any longer. So should we
Which
bring
one?
this one forward in the FFR?
That is our own, and that was R2, and that was kind of ours are regulations. So that's our procedures, you know, that kind of go down one level from the policy saying how or what we're going to consider. But we'll leave that for
So
now until we know how we're going to go forward with FF.
Okay, all right.
And I believe you passed over FCB, retirement of facilities.
Let me see. I might have. What one was it?
FCB.
Oh, I did. I'm so sorry. Okay, so let's move forward to policy FCB, retirement of facilities. And I have like way too many things open here.
Yeah.
Let me find my. Did it close that? FF. Oh no, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Let me, all right,
So-
hold on. I got way too many things.
Okay, well, Lisa's trying to bring it up, Brad, you know, a great opportunity since we were just kind of in the middle of, we're in the middle of this. What are your feelings as far as the district ability and needs to follow this, and what changes would you recommend, if any?
So I do think a potential change that we would need to make. Again, I don't think anyone was happy with the closing or the recommended closure of any building, much less it be the only building within a community that services the students of that community. I think something that we do have to put in, though, is what if does anything trump the policy? And by trumping the policy, I mean, does anything impact the policy when it comes down to finances? If the finances are not there, if the budget is not there, and the support from the state is not there, and a decision has to be made, I'm not entirely sure that we could have followed the policy last year due to the timing of it, and really have followed it with fidelity due to the budget issues that we were having. And we will likely continue to have moving forward unless something changes. That's my only question with this policy. I'm not saying that it shouldn't be followed. You know, the policy is there, so it really needs to be followed. But I question, what if the policy simply can't be followed because of the financial situation that the district is in? Whether it be Ashby, Squanicook, Spalding, or any building that we look at in the future. You know, we have a district that we have all three communities are aging communities. And by that, I mean, we don't have families moving in, we have families staying for the most part. And we're seeing a drop in enrollment because of that. We're not losing more students than we normally do because it's still pretty much remaining the same. But one of the issues we're facing is that it is a population. We're at the high school, we're at 650 kids right now. Its families are not moving out of the district after their kids graduate and move on. They're staying in the district. At least based on the information that I'm seeing. So, I'm not sure. I do think that we have to have something that we have to have something on the books. But I guess what I'm saying is it's very difficult to follow if we have to cut $2.5 million in a given school year.
Okay. One I would say is the school committee always has the option to suspend one of our policies. Just like we did with JCA.
Mhm.
Let me look, hurry back in. So that's one avenue that's always open for any of our policies in the case of not being able to meet it, in all kinds of different situations. The other I might suggest, breaking this up, because I do hear you as far as, you're not gonna necessarily know for the emergency ends of, side of things on cost and budget a year in advance, which is probably what you need to complete fully everything on this list.
Mhm.
Um, so we could try and be a little proactive and separate it out for, when possible, do all of these things in an emergency budget situation. These things need to be considered or presented.
Mhm.
Um, Carrie, Lisa?
I mean, at this point, I don't have anything to really add to this because everything's kind of still in limbo, so.
Yeah,
Till we more, I can't
Right,
really add anything.
but this is a policy for going forward and it's something that we should have on the books. Um,
Yes,
um,
and I do
I-
feel like we should follow this and make sure we cross our Ts and dot our Is before we make any major decisions on any school in the district.
Right. But how do you feel as far as an exception within here for emergency financial reasons? Um,
I think I missed that because I got kicked off
Oh,
the Zoom.
okay.
meeting.
So what I was saying is, Brad was saying that, in cases like we just didn't have the time, once we knew how bad the budget situation was, to be able to go through and finish everything and complete everything in here to have a recommendation in a timely manner on Ashby and the budget. So he was asking, about what do you do in those situations? And I was saying that, one, the option for the school committee is always to be able to suspend any of our policies. We did that with JCA. To suspend, placement of students, assignment of students for this year until we figured out what was going on. So we can always suspend it. And the other option was to have a subsection in here for those emergency cases and have a minimum of things that need to be followed or presented to the school committee.
I think having a subsection with at least a minimal requirements that need to be followed would be the best.
yes, I agree. I don't think we should suspend it.
Me neither.
Okay. Brad, of things on the list here, what of these in an emergency situation would you reasonably be able to put together from the administration standpoint?
In an emergency situation,
So basically, I mean, start looking at the budget in August, September, October timeframe. So if you look at it from that standpoint, that's when you're going to figure out we're in dire need, like you did last year.
yep.
At that point, what of this can you reasonably get for information to the school committee to help make those decisions?
I would say the most difficult of the 7 items that are on there are likely number 3 because of the transportation factor and not knowing who was signed up and not knowing who was signed up for transportation, and the fact that the majority of our kindergarten students do take the bus and we don't have that number oftentimes until this time of year. And number 7, with regard to making sure that that we've exhausted all possible alternative uses, and that's also part of 6 of that building, whether it be instructional or for the community. So there are certainly things that we can do. I mean, number 1 is something that we can do. Number 2, certainly something we could do. But number 3, around the reassignment and how that's going to play out, especially when a final decision is not, at least this past year, was not made until relatively late, and we had a couple of options on the table. I would say 3 and number 7 would be the most difficult to report to the committee without a number of questions.
Okay, you had also put, it said 6 was linked to 7.
Just the alternative uses.
Okay,
Last, I think it's the last bullet.
yep, okay. Okay.
I mean, I would also be a proponent of having, when these types of things come up, and I know that it's investment, I would also be a proponent of having an assessment done of the building by an outside party. So that we have as much information at our fingertips as possible with regard to keeping the building open or potentially closing a building.
Okay. I'm just reading specifics here because it says school committee may seek both professional advice and community input. The professional advice would be a feasibility study, in my opinion.
Yes.
Okay.
Didn't we have that done with Ashby though a few years ago?
Yeah.
We had a study done with Ashby a few years ago, but the problem is that and I don't know who I shared this with at the time, but I had a meeting last week, and I had mentioned it to Kerry as well, with Perkins Eastman, which is involved in several school building projects in the state. And one of the issues with the feasibility study now is that since that original feasibility study was done, the cost for any type of construction has moved from approximately $400 per square foot to $800 to $1,000 per square foot in basically 3 years. So the feasibility study has kind of expired as far as what the actual costs would look like. And I think one of the bigger reasons for that now is that there is now environmental and energy code, which is brand new, that has to be satisfied with any type of a substantial building project, which would, in the case of Ashby, just as an example, they would have to put either in a complete envelope inside the building or on the outside of the building to meet that, because the building would not meet it as it currently is. So it's not just energy code, plumbing code, it's now energy code as well, which has to be satisfied, which is new, and it's making projects extremely difficult and extremely expensive across the state, and it is an MSBA requirement at this point.
Right, yeah.
Okay. All right, so keeping things just to this policy right now. If we had a subsection for in an emergency financial situations, everything except for 3, 6E, and 7 will be followed?
I think that makes sense. I mean, I do wish Nancy was on the call as well, but just to double check with her and Dave. But those are the ones that concern me the most. but maybe we can have Dave and Nancy take a peek at this as well.
Nope,
Oh,
Nancy.
Nancy's here.
I've been listening, but what is it we need to clarify?
We are looking at, in the retirement of facilities, in the case of, kind of emergency, budget issues, like we had last year. It's such a short period of time when decisions have to be made. And we don't necessarily have a year to kind of go through all of these things. What on this list would need to be taken off? What can still be done in short term? So Brad was talking about number 3, the reassignment of children is very difficult to find out in the time period that we'd have to make a decision, let's say from, September through, December, making that decision. That's really tough to get that information to the school committee, as well as 6E, the alternative use for the building and the continuity of instructional and community programs. So we're just wondering, can the other parts of this be gotten, be put together in a short term from your standpoint? Or is there something else that you need more than just a couple of months to put together?
Well, I think some of those are certainly bigger conversations about where we would put kids and all that. So ideally, I think you need as much time as you can get with some of those larger decisions. But we won't even know, you won't know necessarily there's a budget problem until, like, let's say, December, by the time we get our budget pulled together for the next year. And then you don't know what the state's going to do until the end of January. So you really don't have. But I guess I'll need to just look at it a little bit further, to be honest. And
Okay. And that's what we're trying to
I feel like
separate out,
time.
because obviously, some situations are a lot easier to have the time to do the full list here and in-depth talks and in-depth planning. Like if we're just looking ahead going, wow, like in 2010, when we had gone from, 4,300 students in the district, and was predicted to go down to 3,000 within 10 years, we knew we had so much extra capacity in the district. But in that situation, you had the time to sit there and say, okay, let's consider everything and what's going to be best, what kind of configuration, and you had the time to go through these. For budget issues like we just experienced last year, we have a much shorter period of time, but we want something in the policy to at least give the school committee as much as they possibly can have in that time frame to make the decisions. And we would like that in a policy. So I just want to, find out from the administration standpoint, what do you think you can feasibly put together for the school committee to help make those decisions? So,
Makes sense. Thanks.
okay. Okay. Then I guess, we can probably continue this until the next meeting,
Mhm.
and get some more input, for then.
Sounds good.
I agree.
All right. All right, well. Would it be fair to say that we are ready for a motion to adjourn, Lisa?
Yep. Let's see, yes, so would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
I will move to adjourn the meeting.
I second.
And Randy
Yes.
and Carrie?
Yes.
And I say yes, and thank you everyone for taking your time this morning and enjoy your day.
Have a great week.
Bye.
Thank you.